I don't think it's helpful for women to intermittent fast in the morning as it is for them to intermittent fast at night, because a lot of times we're going to bed without being in a restful state. We're still digesting, our stress is high, and we're having a hard time getting our body into the correct circadian rhythm. I do think most of what we're seeing that seems trendy is not really trends. Some of it's ancient. And I know you talked about wanting to get into Ayurvedic. It's hard not to
Yeah.
when you're talking about like wellness trends, because Ayurveda invented saunas in caves with fire and the minerals that were coming off of the rock in the cave. Um, Fast forward today, what's made sauna seem trendy is that people are getting it in their homes.
Yeah.
Well, that's because the price adjustment. We now can get them in a blanket form, infrared, for $600. So it's accessible.
Yeah.
So just because something is accessible doesn't make it a wellness trend that may or may not last.
A lot to unpack here, but I want to dive into first eating within an hour of waking up. So I think, what is your, perspective, feedback on fasting? Does fasting ever play a role in your programming for a time like
Yes.
menopause? How do you think through fasting for women?
Yes. This is a great question. And I love unpacking this question because
Yeah.
there's obviously different schools of thought around fasting. Like I said, I primarily work with women and kids. Um, I have never seen women's labs have good outcomes with morning fasts. However, extended fast, like you're saying,
Yep.
dinner to dinner, dinner to dinner, or moving dinner up or removing dinner, I'm seeing incredible benefits for women to really break that metabolic code. And now, I don't want to override some amazing experts in the field,
Right.
like Dr. Mindy Peltz. She is a true expert on fasting. And if you have all the time in the world to follow her protocol to a T
Yep.
during your different stages of cycle and hormones, then by all means. I just don't know a lot of people. Like personally, I have 4 kids. I have a business. Like I'm not going to be able to change the way I eat every single day of my life. So consistency is my key.
Yep.
So yes, intermittent fasting can play a role. I like to reverse it though. I don't think it's helpful for women to intermittent fast in the morning as it is for them to intermittent fast at night, because a lot of times we're going to bed without being in a restful state. We're still digesting, our stress is high, and we're having a hard time getting our body into the correct circadian rhythm. And I found that if we go to bed in a rested state, having digested our food, so it takes like 2 hours to digest food, at least. Later in the years, menopause, it takes a little longer.
Yeah.
So giving ourselves that 4-hour window is life-changing.
It's so true. And it's hard to do. It's one thing we've been working on. And it's really more so because of having little kids right now and getting them to bed earlier. Honestly, it's not a personal thing. I wish I could say that I'm that disciplined.
Yeah.
But eating and it's hard with work as well. I mean, it's really hard. There's so many aspects which I want to dive into of modernity that are headwinds working against us. But when you look at when we eat dinner, it's like eating, unless you are in Europe and you're literally up until 2 a.m. moving around and doing things, right? And waking up at 10 a.m. But the kind of more American getting up at between 6 and 7, let's just say, eating at 7 or 8 at night is not good. And
or after dark period.
yeah, that's such a good point, is if you could move dinner up and then prolong the fast even from the late afternoon into the morning. I think it's a much more sustainable and realistic way to look at it.
It is. And then if you look at food from an energy perspective, you don't need a lot of energy to go to sleep.
That's right.
But you do need a lot of energy to run your day every morning, because men, unlike women, get a 24-hour hit of testosterone. We don't get that. We don't get that surge.
Yeah.
If we don't get that, what are we using? We're using cortisol and adrenals. And I'm sure you had your own, journey with that, just like I did.
The other thing that you hit on, which is exercise. And there's so many, similarly with food, but there's so many trends in exercise, whether it's, soul cycle, right? Like the soul cycle, Pilates and yoga, which I think Pilates and yoga are like much more holistic longevity type of
Yeah.
exercises. So they'll always kind of be around. But there's always different trends. And then these other trends, whether it's saunas, cold plunging, all these different things.
Mhm.
And the way that they're marketed to us is that they're great for everyone and everyone should do them. But
Yeah.
your philosophy is that there's certain exercises that feel good, and those are the exercises you should do.
Mhm.
It's not a one size fits all approach with exercise.
Mhm.
How do you think through that? And maybe what are some of the things that are trends or fads that you think really we should pause and consider before we all just jump on the same exercise or fitness fad?
I do think most of what we're seeing that seems trendy is not really trends. It's some of it's ancient.
Mhm.
And I know you talked about wanting to get into Ayurvedic. It's hard not to
Yeah.
when you're talking about like wellness trends because Ayurveda invented saunas in caves with
Mhm.
fire and the minerals that were coming off of the rock in the cave. Um, Fast forward today, what's made sauna seem trendy is that people are getting it in their homes.
Yeah.
Well, that's because the price adjustment. We now can get them in a blanket form, infrared for $600. So it's accessible.
Yeah.
So just because something is accessible doesn't make it a wellness trend that may or may not last. Same with PEMF. So PEMF, when it was coming out, or these PEMF systems, pulse electromagnetic fields. So this is physics. This is bioenergetics.
Yep.
It used to cost like $30,000. You'd only use it in a clinic. Well, again, now it's 1,200. It's accessible in the home. So people are building these home wellness clinics, and some people are like, just eat the right foods, just fast, like just do that. That's so trendy. Or red light therapy used to cost 40, $50,000. Now it's 1,000 or 300. If you have those small portable devices. Obviously, when you're dealing with wavelengths and things that are on a spectrum, you want to make sure that it's top notch and
Yeah.
it's been studied and it's
Yeah.
like it is what it says it is. I don't buy that stuff on Amazon, just
Mhm.
saying.
Yeah.
Um, Same with supplements. Like
Yeah.
while one thing is amazing for one person, it might not be amazing for another person. It's similar to superfoods. Avocado is a
Yeah.
superfood for most people. Some people have histamine issues. They don't do well with avocado. So what is I'm trying to think of something that's like a legit trend that I'm just not on board with. I guess supplement wise colostrum. I just think it
Interesting.
is such a trend. Um, because a lot of people that are working through health things are needing to cut back on dairy for one thing.
Right.
And this is a dairy supplement. It's coming from cows.
Yep.
Um, and I'm not against it for everybody. I think it's got great human growth hormone factors. I think it's really good for kids in certain hormone stages.
Yep.
But I just think it's like one of those trends that everybody jumps on but it's like a tier 3 supplement, right? So
Yeah.
we have tier 1 supplements, which are foundational
Yep.
activators. And then there's tier 2 when the body's not completely responsive to the tier 1, where we might need some more minerals. We might need extra vitamin C. Can you tell I'm really passionate about this?
Yep.
And then we have the tier 3, the stuff that the influencers get a big kickback on.
Yep.
And that's what everybody buys. And then they want me to work it into their protocol. So when it comes to wellness trends, I feel like it's the tier 3 supplements that I'm just like, what? As far as like,
This is so good because people don't understand this. And I want to dive into this for a little bit because I own a supplement company and
yeah.
it's frustrating. I'll be honest.
Probiotics are tier 1, okay?
Well, I want to ask you why, but it's really frustrating. But I want to break this down for people that are listening because I don't think they understand this still fully. We have incorporated, and by the way, it's a quality versus quantity, right? So you really
Mhm.
need high quality versus high quantity. There's this
Exactly.
notion that you just need to take all this stuff, quantity, quantity, quantity. Americans were great at this, like the more the better. That's not the case. And the same thing with like
Right. It's ruining our guts and our livers.
right. So like probiotics, right? There's this race on how high can you get the CFU count, which first of all, most consumers don't even know what that means, which is problem number one, right? CFU is a count of bacteria, right? So it's the quantity of bacteria. But if you're just putting 100 billion low quality bacteria into your body, it doesn't matter. It could be
Right.
more harmful than helpful. You don't know where it's coming from. There's no traceability. It's really, really bad. The problem is, to your point, the tier 3, you mentioned this, so I'll go into it, is that there's supplements that are $60, $70, $80. I'm not going to name names. You can guess, but they're really expensive. And the reason why is because there's built-in opportunity and margin for other people
Yeah.
to sell them to you and make money. And so again, it's the business. And so you have to understand that. But I think as a consumer, it's really good just to know at least pause and ask yourself, why am I taking this? Is this the right quality and the right price point? I will obviously be hyper biased because I created all of ours. You can tell the right price point and the right quality from our product line. You know, somewhere between $25 to $40 is probably right.
Mm.
But you'll also see we're not, a brand that uses a ton of influencers for these different things. And there's reason for that. So it's just so you brought it up. And so I don't normally go into that in that much detail, but I do think it's so important.
Well, and I will say too, I mean, to piggyback on that and to be completely transparent is I have affiliate partners.
Yeah.
And the reason I do is because I'm sharing these products all the time anyways.
Yep.
I don't ever partner with anybody and I never have because my integrity, to protect my integrity is everything to me.
Yep.
And so if I ever speak about a product, it's because it's usually tier 1, sometimes tier 2. You'll almost never see me talk about a tier 3 product. Now, occasionally I'll allow them in protocols, but I'll never promote them because I just think it gets people off track.
How do you, sorry, just because we're on this, how do you define tier 1, 2, and 3?
Yeah. So tier 1 is foundational and activators. So when I talk about activators, I can basically decide the protocol based on symptoms, but most of the time it's general, like an active multi, which doesn't look like a standard multivitamin, right? It's an activator. Generally omega-3 and generally probiotics. So these 3 things are the starting point. Now, if you're somebody who has iron or red blood cell issues, we're going to automatically put B vitamins in there. So B vitamins can be part of a foundational protocol. And then magnesium often gets brought into foundational. And then sometimes enzymes get brought into foundational. Outside of that, everything else is tier 2. Not everything else. So there's tier 3 too. Outside of that, after 30 to 60 days, if we run more labs or just go based off of symptoms, there's still some issues going on, right? So at that point, we might do some drainage support, cell support, mitochondria support, or if we know something's deficient based on functional labs, like a mineral, we'll add the specific mineral blend in. Because again, minerals, so important, can be really foundational, should be getting from our food or, our electrolytes. Huge problem in the body though, if we're deficient. So we're going to add those tier 2. Tier 2 is kind of like fixing the body after it's been activated. What else do we need to kind of fix the body? Tier 3 is the fun stuff.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's the stuff that we just want to try.
Yeah.
It's botanicals. Herbals, I would say, are tier 2 and sometimes even tier 1. If somebody's body is too stressed to detox, we're going to probably do an herbal approach to that. I teach all this in my membership, so it's hard to break it down when I'm not talking to somebody that's used
great.
to
It's just great. I haven't heard anyone break supplements down into different tiers like this. Obviously.
So I feel like tier 3 is the colostrums. It is the ashwagandas, God forbid. It's the dim. It's the, the fun stuff.
Yeah.
The thing that's going to fix it all.
A lot of people turn to supplements because of deficiencies. So what are some of the biggest deficiencies that you're seeing? And what are the most common deficiencies that you would say people really need to pay attention to?
So the 2 that I see people constantly treat as a Band-Aid approach is the iron and the vitamin D. And what I mean by a Band-Aid approach is they see it low, so they take it. They don't dig to why it's low. They don't dig to maybe, like with vitamin D, metabolic pathways or Dutch testing can be really helpful, or oats testing to understand the metabolic pathways. More is not more, as you're saying, with the CFUs and probiotics. And same with iron. Like if a pathogen is stealing your iron and you add more iron, you're fueling the pathogen.
That's right.
If a pathway for vitamin D is broken and you're putting more vitamin D in, you're stressing the system. It's like you're adding water to a full bucket. Does that make sense? Or you're feeding, again, pathogens. From a root cause perspective, I see so many people super deficient in B vitamins.
Mm-hmm.
And B vitamins are super synchronistic with each other, but we're learning more about B vitamins and genetic predispositions. So, like the MTHFR gene, this is not a rogue thing. This is legit. The way that our bodies methylate determines a lot of things. But for one, the biggest symptom anybody comes to me with is energy issues.
Yep.
So what's stressing the body? What's stressing potentially the adrenals even that are causing these energy issues? So from a root cause perspective, most people that are coming to me are going to get some set of B vitamins. I'm going to be checking homocysteine levels and CRP levels if I have access to that to determine like which B vitamins we want to do.